What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geeks and Company and another
Hey.
episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. That's right, your favorite geeky podcast is back live 7 p.m. Eastern Time every week, right here on YouTube. That is for the folks that are listening to us on their favorite podcast platform. Because that's right, if you don't want to actually watch our mugs, you can go listen to us later, as of tomorrow, on your favorite podcast platform.
I love looking at your mugs.
Hey, we appreciate that because we love looking at yours tonight. That's right, folks. You heard that correct. We've got a special guest tonight. We've got Mr. Aaron, half of the Married Makers, here with us today. How you doing, Aaron? Thanks for joining us.
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys.
You
I'm so
are
glad
very,
I could
very
finally
welcome.
get on the show.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to you live from the con floor.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you have been on multiple shows on Cosplay Alliance. We did Armored Talk. We did a 1 hour prop challenge. We did a bunch of stuff. But you've never actually been on the show.
No, not yet. So
it's the first time
I'm
officially
excited.
Live on the Geek Boutique podcast. So thanks for joining us, man.
No problem.
As always, this dude over here who's now trying to regrow the facial hair because it's so freaking epic. Mr. Messiah Complex Cosplay. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm wonderful, man. I am still on a high. For those of you that don't know, JS and I have a brand new segment, a brand new show called The After Show, and we recorded 2 of them earlier today talking about The Mandalorian and Star Trek Picard. So make sure you check those out, guys, because it gets a little thick and heavy when we're talking about those 2 shows.
No spoilers for The Mandalorian. I haven't caught up yet. I haven't caught up yet.
No worries. Then don't go watch the after show.
Yeah, don't go watch the after. Well,
watch the episode, then go watch the after show.
Gotcha.
So I'm still a little hyped because we stopped recording those literally like an hour and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's good.
So you know what, Picard. I am so loving Picard. I mean, Aaron, you're not into Trek, are you?
I watched Next Gen when I was like a kid in the 90s with my dad because my dad was into it. Wendy's more into Star Trek than I am. Her mom was all about the original series. We actually have the entire original series on old VHS.
Nice.
Nice.
So I do like it. And
I remember when that came out.
The old movies were great. Wrath of Khan scared the crap out of me as a kid. I used to sleep like this. Because the earworms, I thought, my brother would like sneak up and kind of like tickle my ear sometimes just to freak me out,
as brothers do.
As they do. So but I still like Star Trek. You know, it's fun, but I was always more of a Star Wars kind of kid. I just want to apologize as well ahead of time for this absolute disaster whirlwind of a basement I have. We're in the middle of renovations and everything is stored and.
There's a reason I film up here, bud. You should see my basement.
I'm in a corner. This is literally a corner. If you saw everything out there, it's trash. So you're fine. You're totally good.
Jeff is actually in a closet, but that's okay.
That's his Harry Potter room.
That's where they shove me when I'm doing the podcast. So they don't have to listen to me.
We've got a bunch of people already on the stream, and not possible saying casting you guys on our TV. Woo! I mean, I don't know how big your TV is, but that can get a little scary. Shadow Storm is here. Steve Jones is here. Mr. Keith is here. How's it going, Keith? I saw you join earlier, but I don't think we had a chance to say hi. How's all my 5 people tonight? There you go. How are you guys? Thanks for joining us.
People. Hey, there's a midlife crisis. Look, JS, I can do this now. Yeah.
There you go.
Makari Cosplay from Midlife Cosplay. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Oh, okay.
Shadow Storm. Your basement looks better than my craft room. It's a bomb 24/7. You should see my workshop.
Is it a craft room if it's not a disaster though? Let's be fair.
Exactly.
Like, how serious you are about your crafting?
If you don't have at least 2 or 3 projects going on at once, and then you have to like push one aside to get a piece to another one and push that aside. It's not really a craft room or a shop.
No, it's organized chaos. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, right?
When you
Dean,
make, you make, right?
What's going on?
I mean, you're always making something. Making always takes priority over cleaning.
Yeah. Then you spend a good week or so cleaning afterwards, and
then it looks immaculate for like 3 days.
Not even, man, like a day or something. Yeah. And then when we're both working in the shop at the same time on different projects, that's when it gets chaotic.
Ooh, yeah, that's spicy. Ooh. Yeah,
so your shop is in your basement?
No. So we
No?
actually, we moved up to Barrie a few years back, and we bought a house, and it has a single car garage.
Yeah.
And we actually extended it by 30 feet back into our backyard. So
Oh,
we
wow.
have like a 45-foot long garage attached to the house. It's about what's the standard width for a single car garage? Like 13, 14 feet, maybe.
Perhaps
13 feet, something like
Yeah.
that. So it's about that wide and like 45.
I'm not even sure it's that wide. A single
This
car
guy's
garage? I
living
don't
the
think it's that wide.
dream.
But-
You have a single car garage that you've basically transformed into your cosplay work
Into
area.
a giant
more
shop.
than doubled the length of it.
That's like
And then
that's some
and then I-
Batman level shit right there, man. Like that's awesome, dude. That's
It's
living
not
the dream.
bad, yeah.
That's
And
pretty
then
great.
we have a room in our basement just around the corner here where it's right by our furnace. It's like our furnace room, but it's pretty big and unfinished.
Your
and
3D
it's,
printing room.
Yeah, we have our rows of printers going on there, our laser cutter.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day our CNC and our cosplay storage and all that stuff. So that is a bombshell too. I can't show you guys that. It's too
Well,
much.
that's what Andrew's saying. Cleaning the project room is a project.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. No
Yeah, I should make
kidding.
like a time lapse video of from like my security cameras of me cleaning my shop or something, and just comp that together. That would be fun.
I guarantee you people would watch that. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, it would just feel
Oh,
so
yeah.
pointless because you're gonna. It's one of those. It's like the guy that paints the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time he's got to the other end of it, the first
He's
end
gonna
of it
start
needs to
over
be
again.
painted again, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
by the time you get to the far end of the room, you're gonna go look back and go, "I've already done the terrible things. It's already a mess again."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Just recycle it through.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, for the people that are listening that may not know who you are, tell
Mhm.
them a little bit about yourself, who the Married Makers are,
Sure.
and what do you guys do?
Well, my wife Wendy and I, Aaron, are part of the. We have a small company called the Married Makers. We do cosplay, prop making, 3D printing specifically is our specialty. One of the things we also specialize in is 3D modeling for 3D printing. I used to be in animation for about a decade, 3D animation. That's where I got my modeling from. And Wendy is still a modeler in 3D animation. She's working for a game studio right now, working on a super secret, super awesome game. Yeah, but we do props. For a while during the lockdown, we did props for some TV shows in Toronto. Being in animation, I knew some producers, and they found out that we started this company. So I started doing props for some TV shows. We used to do commissions for cosplay, not so much anymore. So right now we're just working on some sponsored work from Rust-Oleum Canada. Check out Rust-Oleum Canada; they are great. Yeah, and that's basically what we do.
If you're a maker, you've used Rust-Oleum products. Actually, you probably use them every time you make something.
Yeah.
Pretty
You're
much.
using
They
one
are the
sort of
name in
Rust-Oleum
that.
product. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that new spray handle.
Oh,
Turns your can into a spray gun. That's genius. I need to go
Yeah.
pick me one of those up because I mean that feels like a game changer to me.
I bought one like 3-4 years ago, well before our sponsor, and I was like, how was this not a thing like years ago? It's because you know what I'm talking about. You when you're spraying for hours and hours with different cans, it doesn't matter if you have new ergonomic grips on the spray can. You get that
Yeah.
Tetris finger or the the old arcade finger, right?
No,
you
but that
get the
attachment
claw.
and it turns it into like basically almost like a hose. It's
Yeah.
like that's
It's just
that's
like
the stuff.
what's it called, a HVLP gun, or it's just like
Yeah.
a regular spray gun, and it works
it's genius.
amazingly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. It's
Yeah,
not-
it's like
they're-
it's like $15.
yeah, they're not expensive, but they're a lifesaver on your fingers, man. Absolutely.
So I can't tell you how many times I've had to like switch to my thumb to spray, switch to my other hand, and then my
Honey,
thumb.
I'm
and then,
thumb spraying again, honey.
Yeah,
Honey, I'm having
exactly.
a thumb spray. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
So,
it
Aaron,
allows
are you doing this full time now?
About part time. So Wendy works full time
Yeah.
for animation. I was doing full time, and then we had our first baby.
Mhm.
She's 2 now, so I watch her 3 days a week. Then she goes to daycare for 2 days a week. So I watch her full all day, and then the day she's at daycare and after she goes to bed is when I usually work on stuff. So it's like not full time, like half time, part time,
Mhm.
and hopefully in the future when she's a little older, she can go to daycare full time or school, and both kids are in school or something. We can what a flattering photo. We can
That's awesome.
move on and try and focus on more full-time stuff. I was full-time for a while when Wendy was on mat leave with our first kid, but when she got off of it, she went back to work full-time. It is a good job, but it fiscally made more sense for her to work full-time.
Right. So hang on. So I'm always curious about this. So she works full-time, you work part-time, you've got a 2-year-old and you've got one on the way.
Yeah.
Where in the name of all that is decent and holy do you guys find the time to put together this dope ass stuff and show it off at cons? That's bananas.
Well, there's this thing we don't really do. It's called sleep.
Well, yeah. Okay.
There's one thing.
Sleep's overrated anyway, but
you'll sleep when you're dead. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of those people that actually I can function fairly well with like maybe 4 hours of sleep. Not saying I do that all the time, but when the crunch, when
it's
the crunch
unhealthy,
sets
Aaron.
in, yeah, exactly. Like last year, we did those trophies for Fan Expo, their cosplay contest.
Yeah,
and everything's going great, and then mid-June, I don't know if you saw, but I broke my arm.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
Yeah, I was like rock climbing and my elbow literally bent the wrong way.
I
have a scar. You can see the scar there.
Yeah.
I had surgery and they almost replaced my elbow.
You just don't do anything halfway, do you, Aaron?
No, I'm not a half-ass kind of guy.
Go big or go
all
home,
the way.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, everything was going great, and then I break my arm, so I couldn't work for so long. And so I had to either direct Wendy how to do things while wearing like a bag over my cast, like a few feet away. But then eventually I'm in a cast and I have a sleeve and a bag over me and I'm just sanding with one hand and I have stuff viced down. But that's when I had the con crunch and I got my cast off 2 weeks before Fan Expo last year. And we were running a booth. So
that's right. You had a booth as well.
So
I think we came over during one of the lives. I think we had a chance to talk to you briefly when we did one of the lives.
Yeah, I remember that because we were just down the row from you guys.
Yeah.
So I had to prepare my props for the booth. Well, both Wendy and I did. We had to finish making those trophies for the grand finale for the cosplay contest. It was just nuts. It was like chaos. It was absolute chaos. But it's one of those things, you got to do what you got to do, and plus it's like a passion, right? If I didn't love this so much, I would be like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do it. So
it's not easy work. People think it's easy, but
no,
it's exhausting work, and it's I want to go back, sorry, to the trophies for a minute.
Sure, yeah.
You were basically commissioned to make all of the trophies for the Fan Expo Masters of Cosplay.
That's correct.
How many total trophies were there?
So there was 8 qualifying trophies. That one, the Maple Leaf qualifier, was for the qualifier at Fan Expo. Shout out to Cray Critter who won that. She's amazing. You should look her up. Mm-hmm. So they had people from 8 different Fan Expo cons across North America. There was like Philadelphia, Dallas, Denver, Orlando, Calgary, Boston. I don't remember the other ones. And then this one. And then they flew them all in. And then there's the grand finale, and there's the grand finale winner and then the runner-up. So there's 10 total. So
right.
That one you just saw was the qualifier. And then the grand finale trophy, I don't think I actually posted that on Instagram. We should, but they're a little different. And I had to.
Yeah, they were all a little bit different, weren't they?
Yeah. So the qualifiers had different colors because each convention, like Dallas and Denver, are purple, and Calgary's red, Toronto's red, and so they had the name like the Maple Leaf qualifier, the Stampede qualifier for Calgary, Sunshine qualifier for Orlando, and so they had the different names, the different colors, and then the different plates, and then the grand finale trophies were like taller, and they had the name runner-up or grand finale winner, and they were like gold and silver.
So I saw how you made these. And you know what? It's still here, so I'm going to bring it back up here because people need to understand you made these from scratch.
Yes. So I came up with I actually reached out to Fan Expo because I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to try making trophies. I'm sure everyone here knows Vulpin Props.
Mm-hmm.
They do
a lot of cool trophies,
amazing work. So I had the privilege of getting to know Harrison, who runs Vulpin Props. at like BlizzCon and Dragon Con and stuff. And I met him through work when I was at Henchman. And Wendy and I got to know him and his partner, and they're so cool. Like, he's just such a cool, down to earth guy. And I was like, he makes boss ass trophies. I want to try making a trophy, see if I can do it. Nowhere near his level, but I want to get there. And so I reached out to Fan Expo, and because we had, I had a little bit of a contact with them from 2019 when we were guests, and we've done panels for them before. So I said, hey, I'm curious, are you guys looking for a trophy maker? Because we would love to do trophies for your cosplay contest. And they said, you know what? We're actually shopping for someone right now.
Oh, that's
so
hilarious.
Send us some concepts. So I spent a couple days. I just went into our 3D program Maya, and I just whipped up a few 3D concepts and of different qualifier trophies and then different grand finale winner trophies. And I said, I rendered them out really quick, and I said, here's what I think it's going to look like. This is what I think it's going to be made out of. And we basically had like these big design spreadsheets of what they would look like, and they chose the ones they liked, and they said how many they wanted, and I gave them a quote, and that's how it happened.
And you had never made trophies of any kind before? Like, this was just something you saw somebody else do, and you were like, that's cool, I want to try that. And you went to the biggest convention in Canada for the year, and you were like,
second biggest in North America too.
Yeah,
second biggest
I want to make your trophies. And they were like, yeah, go ahead, do it. And you just did all this on the fly. Like, this is just something you just did.
I don't do things half-assed.
No, you sure don't.
I'm the type of person where I like to throw myself into it and learn as I already knew how to mold and cast the basics, like not basics, but I knew pretty decent molding and casting skills, but I've never worked with
pretty basic molding and casting skills. Have you not seen what the stuff that this guy makes?
Hold on, but help us plebs out, us peasants. Like, I'm assuming, I'm hoping, maybe I'm wrong. I'm hoping it wasn't just this was your very first attempt and it came out perfect. Like, please tell me this went through some stages before you got to a finalized product.
So this stuff is called crystal clear, the clear resin, and it's difficult to work with, is pricey as hell. So the first one I made was for I want to say Pennsylvania, and I went through. I did a couple tests. I did one test, like a test pour, and it came out okay-ish, and then I went through two more before that. Because, well, I did a couple tests and they didn't work out well. And I was like, crap, we need a pressure pot. And that's like $1,000 investment right there. So I'm like, all right, we're getting a pressure pot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
just like that.
Yeah. So,
well, you were committed at that point, right? Yeah. Choice now.
Well, you can do so much work with resin, though. I mean, that's going to pay for itself in no time.
So. Oh, it already paid for itself, right?
Yeah.
Like the job paid for it, and then we had to get like a better vacuum chamber to get the bubbles out of our resins and our like silicone and stuff like that. And the base is this new material called Matrix Drive, and it's like really, really hard and sturdy, but it's really heavy, which is nice. So it gives you that extra weight. But yeah, I went through like,
and it's easy to cut and sand too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to sand. Cutting it's pretty good too. It doesn't really chip or crack. But yeah, I went through about two, I think, finals of the Pennsylvania one.
Right.
Before I got the one that I sent into them.
Yep.
Because it was just like a shit show. Like little things that because I never worked with clear before. Actually, well, I've cast with clear stuff, but not this stuff. And I've never had something floating inside because there's nothing on either side. It's just floating in there.
How were you able to accomplish that? Like, I'm curious.
So it was 2.5 pours. So we got our mold. We did the first pour, then we just placed the plates in place. And I put like a tiny bit just to basically glue it down. And then I put more on top. But the problem was, for the first couple, they kept shifting. When you put the pressure pot on, I was up to set it to about 60 PSI. So like 60 pounds per square inch.
So much pressure that it was
if it's not perfectly level, even though it was the thing was as level as I could make it, even if it's off by a fraction, like half a millimeter, not even that much weight, it'll slide it. So, and it's like an 8-hour cure, right? So I put this in, and I put the pressure pot on. I pour it all in 8 hours later, and it's all slid to the side, and it's uneven. I'm like, oh my god, this is driving me nuts. Yeah. And then it also heats when it heats up when it cures, like gets super heated. So one of them I put in, and it actually got so heated it bubbled the paint underneath.
Oh no way!
So I had to get like this clear coat shellac to clear to, but the problem is with that paint. The paint I was using, certain shellacs or clear coats would not make it shiny or metallic, or it would dissolve it. So I had to find the special one, like water-based stuff, and I had to airbrush it. And oh man, it was.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So like that helps us, guy, because I watch Evan and Caitlin. I don't know if you guys know who Evan and Caitlin are.
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
me too, on YouTube. So they work with
resin
I
know
all
who
the time, and they've got a great shirt. It just says "make fail," and that's that. There's a process, and I don't think a lot of people like fully appreciate or even understand the process, because we look at this trophy and we're like, "Dude, that is dope," and you're like, "Do you know what I had to do to get it so that it looks like this?" So I really wanted to pick your brain and kind of get a process through, so us peasants would be like, he didn't just wake up one morning, kids, and just make this. Like, it's a thing, it's a process. He's a skilled artisan that took time to figure out how to do this. I mean, dude, that thing looks dope. Like, Fan Expo must have been jazzed to have these trophies from you guys. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they said they loved them. They actually asked me to remake them this year, slightly updated.
Nice.
To make more for this year, but we decided not to take on the project with the baby coming, and we have our new sponsorship with Rust-Oleum. Check out Rust-Oleum Canada.
Every time we're going to mention Rust-Oleum.
Yeah. Gotta keep them happy. They've been so great to us, so they're amazing.
And they legitimately have dope product too. It's not like you're shilling for just somebody that's
I'm not just this isn't like World of Tanks. Check out World of Tanks. Like,
if you're a maker and you're cosplay and you painted or sealed or primed anything, you've used Rust-Oleum product, I guarantee.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but so we're so busy with our contract with them, and like I said, the baby, and I want to do more personal projects, because last year those trophies consumed like about 6 months of my life. It would have been about 3 or 4, but I broke my arm. So
yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it every time. Yeah, clearly somebody else watches Evan and Caitlin as well. There's their little resin time song that they like to sing before it's resin time. Yeah, so I get it. Rust-Oleum always is what Steve is saying as well. Yeah, dude, there's no way, man. Like, if there's it's like Warbler, it's like an EVA fault. Like, if you're into cosplay and you make shit, you're probably using Rust-Oleum products, right?
Yeah. And
so let's help Aaron plug Rust-Oleum. We're not getting anything, by the way, for the Rust-Oleum plug like Aaron is. And we're just,
I mean, Rust-Oleum, I mean, if you want to help out the channel, I mean, feel free to get in touch with us. But, we'll I'm going to pitch you for free here. Aaron, I've noticed lately you've been using Rust-Oleum Leak Seal.
Yes.
I had gotten into the habit of using Rust-Oleum Peel Coat. A lot of people use Plastidip.
I was about to say, is that in place of a Plastidip? Is that what you're doing?
Okay. Yeah, it's a better version of Plastidip.
Yeah. What's the difference? I mean, have you used the Peel Coat, and do you know what the difference is between Peel Coat and the Leak Seal?
So I actually still have a whole bunch of Peel Coat. I bought a whole bunch of stock because it's so cheap in the States. And it's like $4.50 a can in the States.
That's crazy.
It's
$30 here now
for a can.
Yeah,
it's because I think they're phasing out. They have a new type of Peel Coat. Oh, I think it's someone's bedtime.
Oh,
really quick.
Well, hello.
Good night.
I have a kiss.
Good night.
That's not you.
Bye.
That's Lily. So for Peel Coat, I used it a lot, and then when we met up with Rust-Oleum and a bunch of other cosplayers a few years back before the lockdown, in late 2019, and they wanted to reach out to cosplayers and say, hey, we learned from our employee Dana the Sloth. She used to work for Rust-Oleum.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, she organized this whole thing. Shout out to Dana, she's amazing. They said, what other products do you guys use? What would you like to see? Blah, blah, blah. And we had a little like sit down and talked about their products. And they said, do you guys use Leak Seal? And Dana's like, well, I use it all the time. And I was like, well, I use Peel Coat. And the benefit of Leak Seal is it's a taller can, so you get more, and they're like $14 for a can or $16 for a can.
Really?
Canadian, yeah. And also, Leak Seal is meant for like literally sealing leaks in your roof or your windows or whatever. So Peel Coat peels off, right? So Leak Seal will not peel off.
Leak Seal is permanent.
Yeah, it'll seal it. Yeah, so it works great, and I found, depending on how well you heat the can, the temperature, what you're spraying in, the distance of your spray, you can get different textures with the Leak Seal. So you can get a nice smooth coat, but if you go a little closer, maybe a slightly heavier spray, but nice and even, you can actually get like a bumpy, like if you want like a rough, like pig iron type texture, or like a rough metal texture, or some like bark or something, it can work for that too. So you have a nice variety in that.
And I think it comes in a clear and a black too, correct?
Black, brown, clear, and maybe white.
There you go.
Yeah.
Although it comes in white,
colors. Yeah.
I've heard clear is not so bueno for cosplay stuff. It doesn't.
That makes sense.
But the black, I'll stand by black. I'll die on that hill. It's great. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it. I mean, I've been adamant about Peel Coat. It was so much better when I switched to Peel Coat. It made my life so much easier. I hated Plasti Dip. Not only does Plasti Dip really, 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 really stink, it's very hard to get a nice smooth texture from the Plasti Dip. It's got to be the perfect temperature outside, and there's got to be no wind, and there's got to be the can has to be the perfect temperature, and you have to be at the perfect distance, and it's very temperamental. Peel Coat, didn't matter what you do, it's going to give you a nice finish every time. So I'm curious about Leak Seal now. I'm going to have to try it out and see how it does.
Great.
Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with Rust-Oleum, or is that?
Oh, those gang. I can't say the name, but well, we're trying to avoid saying Pokemon names because it's another
fair enough
IP. But the helmets I called Spooky Purple Boy or Purple Spooky Boy helmets that I've been posting the last couple months, with like the visor and everything.
Visor, dude, talk about the visor. Talk about how you went about making the visor, because you just posted a reel today that kind of shows the whole process from beginning to end. And dude,
so that
work this guy goes through is.
Yeah, it was a journey learning, but I learned doing my Final Space helmet. Actually, you can see right there.
Yeah,
he's all the way back in the corner.
Is this one here, Gary?
Yeah, it's Gary. Yeah, so I originally learned how to do the vacuum forming for lenses doing Gary, and so just like Gary from Final Space, I modeled everything in 3D. I made a buck for the lens, and for those of you who don't know, a buck is just like the object you put down over a vacuum former that it forms to.
So it's the negative.
Yeah, it's basically
the negative of what you're trying to make.
Yeah, exactly. That's a better way of. It's like a reverse mold or the negative. But
I like that, a reverse mold. That's
so. When one thing I learned when I was doing the Gary helmet was I forgot to compensate for the thickness of the plastic, because when you're forming over the buck, the thickness of the plastic has to be taken into account.
So you make your buck a little bit smaller to compensate.
So I use 1 millimeter PETG. So I had to take the lens buck I got in 3D, and I just shrank it down by 1 millimeter, and then I printed it. For the Gary one, I molded and casted it in like UltraCal, which is like a gypsum cement type water-based mix. But for the helmet I'm working on now for Rust-Oleum, I just used ABS plastic. It has a higher heat resistance, and then there's this high heat spray that Rust-Oleum has for engines. It can resist I think it's like 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. It's a ludicrous amount. So going for like 130 degrees Celsius on a vacuum form is like nothing. So I just sprayed it with this high heat resistance thing. You have to bake it a little bit to to activate the properties in the paint. So that thing was not going anywhere. And then
so just so I
vacuum
understand,
formed
so you 3D printed your buck, you finished
Yeah.
it nice and smooth, you sprayed it with this high heat coating
Yeah.
that you have to bake for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then now, I mean, it's completely heat resistant up to whatever the coating is resistant to.
Yeah. So the plastic will melt before the coating.
Interesting.
Yeah,
eh?
that's how high resistant that paint is. I don't really need it. It was a little overkill, but I just wanted to be cautious because I'm like, I don't want to destroy this. I don't want to ruin it or mess up because it's been a couple years, or about a couple years since I vacuum formed, so I didn't want to mess things up.
How
So
many
it was just an
pulls
extra
did you
precaution.
have to do before you got that nice
So
final one you have in the video?
first try, I got it, but then I'm like, I'm gonna try and make some more. It could be a little better because I'm a perfectionist, and I went through 6, and they all messed up. I tried changing the
Really,
buck.
eh?
I tried changing my temperatures. I tried changing how long I heated it for. I tried if you saw the video, you'll see I put a little frame around the buck
Mhm.
before. That's to get rid of the wrinkles because there's sharp corners in it. These wrinkles shoot up the lens when you form it. So you put that little frame around it to stop these wrinkles coming up. I tried changing that. I tried all these different things, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick with the first one. I was just wasting material at that point, trying to be a perfectionist. And Wendy's like, just use that one.
It's
Just
fine.
use it. Yeah. So it worked.
And then you went and tinted it.
tinted it. Yep. So there's it's a fabric dye, a polyester dye called RIT fabric dye,
Mhm.
and PETG is polyethylene something, and so it's polyester in it, and it works perfectly. You just dip it in and at a certain temperature, and it just dyes it. I did a few dips, wash it with some cold water, and then I just mirror chromed it with some Rust-Oleum mirror coat used for making mirrors. And it works, and you can see through it. People have
And you
been
can still
messaging
see
me.
through it. That's awesome.
We've got quite a few messages and a couple of comments on our post saying, "Can you see through it?" Same with the Gary. Can you see through it? I'm like, yeah, you can see. I've been meaning to make a post about it. Actually, I wonder if I have the lens here. I can hold up to the camera, but I don't think I do. I think it's in the garage. It's in the shop somewhere. But yeah, you can totally see through it. Obviously, it's a little cloudy, but you can see. Yeah. So that works great. But it's nice because, again, when I was making that Gary helmet, I was pretty confident in making everything, and then I'm like, how the hell am I going to make this lens? So I just started researching and like punished props, and then I started looking up professional vacuum formers and all these different tutorials, and I'll spend days just reading on stuff, and I'm like, okay, I have a good idea, and then I built my own vacuum form machine, and then I tried it
So
out.
you ended up building your own.
Yeah. There's a video on our Insta that's like a couple years old, of my first use of it, but I've never actually posted a video of the making of. I recorded everything on how I made it. I just never. It got buried. It got buried somewhere. I gotta maybe post some stuff on that. It's made out of like old patio heaters and vacuum and scrap wood. But it works. It works great.
I mean, it seems to work perfectly fine. I'm assuming you're using like the Build-A-Ran method with a shop vac and
Yep.
wood frame. And did you
Yeah.
drill all your holes yourself, or did you buy?
I drilled all my holes
Oh
myself.
my god! If
Yeah.
you guys don't know what a vacuum forming machine is it's basically a machine where you heat your plastic, and again, like Aaron was explaining it, you create a buck, and then when you lower your plastic over the buck, you have a vacuum pulling the plastic down, sucking it down. That's why it's called vacuum forming.
And it formed,
So the base is all little holes. How many holes do you have? How big is your table?
The forming area is about 38 inches by 30, or 40 inches by 40 inches.
Oh,
But
shit. Yeah, how many holes did you have to drill?
oh god, a lot. Basically 40 by 40.
Ay. Do you have a drill
Yeah.
press, or is it all by hand?
I had one of those. it's like for a hand drill, it's like it keeps it perpendicular. It's like a little stand that you can. It's like I have a drill press, but it won't fit. It's so big.
Yeah, it's
right?
too big. Yeah, fair enough.
The throat on the drill press is not deep enough or wide enough or whatever. And yeah, I've tried using. So someone just said pegboard. You can use pegboard, but the holes are too big.
Mm-hmm.
They work for small things, but if you want really high quality, you need smaller holes. Gives you a better suction. And if you really want it done professionally, like when I was at Henchman, they had a real vacuum former, and they have a vacuum, but they use that just to create a vacuum in this giant tank, basically like an old compressor tank or something.
Yeah.
And then they just flip a switch, and the vacuum goes.
Yeah, just boom, just pulls it all right out. Yeah.
It's like an alien where they suck the alien out of the side of the. It's strong as hell.
Probably get good pulls with that.
Oh yeah, you can get some good stuff. And actually, I've been researching how to do more different types of vacuum forming, where you have the buck, but then you also have another negative on top, and you basically sandwich it as you vacuum form. And
oh yeah,
but I don't do it enough, need it enough to make an extensive one like that. This is what works for my purposes.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing, right? You build what works for you. If you ever have a need for something bigger, you're just gonna build something bigger, right?
Well, that's half the fun of of doing this is like, okay, I want to do this, but I need this tool. Yeah, I can make that. I can make it, and it's like, I mean, I don't make it well, but it does the job well enough.
I mean,
as long as it works, right?
Yeah. Like it works well enough, and sometimes you'll make some mistakes, and sometimes you can turn those mistakes into something good. In one of my recent videos, I don't know if you saw the one where I'm like hooking up my spray booth. So I built a spray booth, and I'm hooking it up to a window in my garage. Mm-hmm. So the back of our shop, we have another garage. So we have two garages,
like 2 weeks ago,
two garage doors.
Last
week? Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. Yeah. So the back of our garage has windows in it. And I was like, okay, I wonder if I can like just run this tube out the window to exhaust. I don't want to open the door. It was still
totally exhaust right out the window.
Yeah. And so I was taking it out, and the window shattered. I'm like, shit. And then I see a warning on the window, and it says, "Caution: when you take this out, it might fall and shatter," because it just pops right out. But I didn't see it. Yeah. So I'm like, well, we have a broken window, and our garage is now exposed. So now I built basically like a frame adapter and put that in the place of the window, so I could just hook up the exhaust directly to it. So, and then I plug it up with some wing nut. Like I have a door that plugs it up with some wing nuts, and I just close that. And when I need to, I just take the door out. I hook up the exhaust to that, and it just works fine. So I'm like, and Wendy's like, "Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea." I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't tell her. Later,
totally like, an on-purpose idea.
Why is there glass on the floor?
Yeah. Why is there glass over there? Why is the window shattered? I'm like, I don't know.
It's weird. How that set of circumstances that have nothing related to this cool idea I had.
So Shadowstorm said MacGyver cosplay solutions. That was more of a Magoo cosplay solution for the older generations who know Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
If it looks dumb but it works, it's not dumb. That's my motto for a lot of stuff in life. So
exactly,
that was the motto in animation. Yeah. If it looks right, it is right. Who cares what it looks like behind the scenes?
Well, that's the thing, right? If it works, it works. That's what's important.
No one looks at the back of the cross stitching. No one looks at the back of it.
No, exactly.
In the front, so it's all good.
Exactly. We've got some questions from the internet.
Okay.
Jen is queuing some up. Well, here we go. How did you guys learn to 3D model the prints? Any tips for people wanting to start? I mean, that's a good point. I mean, you kind of said earlier you were in 3D animation, so that you already had a modeling background.
Yeah.
So you went to school for 3D modeling, basically.
Yeah, that's how Wendy and I met in 3D. Oh. So we went to Humber College, the North Campus in Rexdale, and we met. We were both 17 years old. We were both living on campus, and I met her first night living on campus. She was on a co-ed floor, and I was on like all dudes floor, one floor above. And I met her, and she's like, "You want to go play Smash Brothers with some friends?" I'm like, "I love you." And so we became friends, and we learned 3D modeling and through our 3D program. So it was a 2-year program. Then we did a 1-year post-grad program specializing in gaming and TV broadcasting and 3D for TV and broadcasting. And so we learned from that, and we started working. We graduated, started working in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the industry in 2018. And Wendy is still in it. Actually, we were talking in the pre-show, Plaid Vader, Sean, that you guys met. He was my boss for years. He's still in 3D.
Oh, is he really? Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
So Wendy's a modeler, like a 3D modeler. So she does like character sculpts using ZBrush, like amazing organic looking stuff. Like everything that I can model, she can do better and faster because she was like dedicated modeler.
Right.
I did modeling for the first few years of 3D, but I also did rigging, which is like basically putting in like a virtual skeleton so animators can move them around and stuff like that. So like the engineers of the animation world. So I did that, and I got more into just that. But I still did modeling on the side, and I did modeling for like 3D printing and stuff. So that's how we got into it. And we learned using 3D Studio Max, and then we switched over to Maya because Toronto is now a Maya city. All the studios here use Maya. But if people want to learn, I would recommend Blender. It's free. It's a free program. They have a big online community. You can find endless tutorials for free online. Honestly, if people want to get into even 3D animation, you don't need to go to school for it anymore. Like it's for something like that, you don't need to. I would save your money. I mean, our program was good. It was a good program, and I'm not gonna.
Baby's asleep.
Oh, Wendy said the baby's asleep, and she's possibly gonna hop on.
Oh, there you go. So how different? I mean, when you learned to 3D model, it wasn't for 3D printing; it was for animation based. So how different is it when you're modeling a character for animation versus something that you're going to actually physically print and wear, like a helmet or a piece of armor or whatnot?
There's a huge difference. If you're modeling for animation, the mesh, the like the wireframe, the mesh has to be super clean, super nice. Because for me to do my job as a rigger, it has to be clean. Otherwise, it can't move properly. It'll blow up. It won't deform properly. Yeah, the top link. And for 3D printing, 3D slicing programs, they don't give a crap how messy your mesh is. It's great. You can model something, you can mash it together, you can make it all messy, as long as it looks good as a whole, and there's no empty cavities on the inside that will mess up your print or whatever. It works totally fine.
Again, as long as it looks right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll print.
Like if I showed you some of the meshes from or if you just look up a good mesh from a 3D animated, like some sort of VFX or studio or CG studio or whatever, you'll look at these beautiful meshes and you'll see what I'm talking about, like around the face and the arms and whatever. The mesh has to flow a certain way. If you look at some of the models we've done for 3D printing, it's roughly clean. And then we start adding shit to it, like studs and this and that, and we just slop it on.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
All
We
right.
sure can. See, she doesn't have any issues. She just logs on and it just works.
I'm the smart one.
Apparently.
Sorry I'm so late.
Oh, that's okay. We completely get it. Thank you so
Babies.
much for joining us.
No problem.
Babies, yes. How old is your first one?
She just turned 2 last week.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Terrible twos.
Just like forever ago. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you're, I mean, I think we've said it already. So you're due.
I'm
very
doing
soon.
6 weeks.
Yeah, this is real soon.
May 4th. May 4th.
No, I'm holding him in on purpose. I can't subjugate him to a life of May the 4th be with you on his
You
birthday.
have to, and you have to
can't
name
do
him Obi-Wan. It's fine. Don't worry, but it's cool.
I have some friends born on May the 4th, and they hate it. Even if they love Star Wars, they hate it. So
Really?
I can't do it.
Murdered to have been born on May the 4th. Are you kidding me? It's so good.
I think baby Lando will be very happy he was born on May the 4th.
Maybe Lando, even better.
God.
We're saying hi. Not possible is saying hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Shadowstorm as well.
I finally made it onto a podcast. I'm not all echoey, am I? I kind of hear an echo in my headphones, but they're right beside each other. So
Yeah, we're used to we usually game right beside each other, so
No,
you
you
can see
sound
the
fine.
same-
You
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
fine.
yeah.
Wendy,
I
we
was
were oh there you go. A little bit of magic trick there. We were going through some questions from the internet.
Oh, nice.
We just covered the 3D modeling one.
Yeah.
Jam.
I guess from what Aaron was telling us, you're the real 3D modeler in the family.
Wow.
Literally,
That's just
she's literally a pro. Like she's literally does it for a living.
like Aaron knows how to model. He's a modeler too. It's just I'm the one who gets paid to model. So I do it every day for 8 hours. So it's just kind of
That makes you the pro. That's
I'm the pro.
definitely makes
Yeah.
you the pro.
Yeah,
I think it's exactly the definition of a
Yeah.
professional, but
Yeah.
you know.
literally pays for our mortgage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
It's just it started in college and I haven't stopped since. And that was what, like 2008 we graduated. So
we started in 2000, almost it was 18 years ago. I just realized that we met
18
18
years ago.
We started 3D 18 years ago.
The industry has to have changed a lot in 18 years. I mean, it's like anything else, but 3D modeling, I feel like has taken such a leap, even
Yeah.
over the last 10 years. I can only imagine almost 20.
And now with AI shit coming out, there's people are. You can, it's not really a big threat. People make it out to be worse than it is for making models and
Well,
stuff like that. But
there's stuff where you can take a picture of like a vase or something and it'll build a 3D model for you, like right on the spot. But you can't use it for anything. Like it looks nice, but you can't use it in a production. So far I feel not threatened, but we'll see.
Hmm.
But it's been changing very fast. You just got to keep up with the programs and the techniques and everything. But usually a good studio will let you learn it. So they'll give you time to learn all the new stuff. So it's not so bad.
Shadowstorm is asking, and I feel like this is a person that might already know the answer, but is asking, is there any games or movies that you've worked on that we would know of?
More so Aaron.
probably more so me.
We worked on different studios and do different stuff.
We've worked at the similar studios. Like the first job we had out of college was for a Teletoon show called Bolts and Blip. It came out in 2009 or something. It's pretty small, but the biggest thing I've worked on. Do you guys know Troll Hunters? It's on Netflix. It's Del Toro show, and then they have all those other spin-offs. So I worked at a studio with Sean or Plaid Vader at Arc Studios, and we worked on season 1. So I did a lot of the rigging on that show, and what's the name of that other one? It's like a Wizard
I didn't
of Oz.
realize that was done locally here. That's interesting.
Toronto is huge. Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver are huge animation cities. The government gives American studios so much kickback. Like they get such a big cash kickback that studios come over here all the time because it promotes jobs in the city, it promotes jobs in our country. So it's good for us.
They also go out of business at a crazy rate. Like I think there's maybe been 4 studios I work for that have gone under.
Really, eh? I wonder why that is.
Just mismanaged, or like they work project to project, right? So if there's no project coming up, they just lay everybody off and the studio goes under. It's a terrible business model.
Yeah. So the Oz show that was on Prime is called Lost in Oz or Back to Oz. It's about Dorothy's daughter. It started off as one episode or a short movie, and then it got expanded into a series or a longer movie. I don't remember because it got picked up by another studio once it aired. Actually, I won. Well, not me specifically, but our studio won a bunch of Emmys for that and Troll Hunters season 1. So I actually have a certificate an official Emmy certificate with my
Really?
name on it. And yeah.
So you have an Emmy?
Technically, I have like 14 or something like that, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I
Dude,
mean,
that's dope.
but not specifically for what I did, but just like best animation or
Yeah,
best
but still.
character work, and that's something I was a part of. So our team
Yeah.
did.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
That's
bona
like the
fide
highlight.
friggin' celebrities with us here tonight, Jeff. I mean, holy cow.
I want to say shit. I don't have an Emmy. I don't even have like, you know, 5th place in grade school for the talent show. Your brother's got an Emmy. What the hell?
Hey, we've got Reed's Reed's Props Plus just joined us, throwing trophies around.
Hey, Reed.
How's it going, man? Yeah, animation is pretty monopolized in Toronto. Yeah, there's a few big studios, and they kind of run things, and they just, when they shut down, they just open a new one, and they open a new one.
Well, it's a bit different now.
The community probably knows each other a lot, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing you probably know a lot of the other modelers, well, for animation in the city, and you've probably at some point worked with all of them.
A good chunk, yeah. We've worked with a lot of people over. I mean, so Wendy's been working there in the industry for 15 years now.
You meet a lot of people, and the cosplay has a lot of crossover, as you would imagine, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where we got some of our jobs as the Married Makers. It's just a producer from a studio we used to work at reached out, knew that we were doing props, and was like, "Hey, sure, I know you and trust you. Like, take this job."
He was actually the producer on that Wizard of Oz show that I worked on. He was fun to work for, and yeah, I can't say what the project is. I worked on it. When was it? 2021?
So, yeah.
Something like that. I worked on it for about 7 months. I did a bunch of props for them on and off, and the show hasn't aired yet, but I heard it's airing soon, so I can finally reveal some of the props I did. It's pretty cool. It was fun stuff.
Yeah, you should post some of that as soon as you can, because I love seeing those things. That's awesome. I feel like Jen's trying to flag me with her next question here because I keep seeing it blink. Jeff is smiling. I think you're seeing it too.
I'm saying nothing. I know nothing.
Yes, Jen, you can bring the next question on. I can't see what it says here. What are some pros and cons cosplay? Oh, wow, cosplaying as a couple. Maybe I didn't want to ask this one. No, they're both here now.
This is going to turn into like a couples therapy podcast.
So yeah, pros and cons. I mean, look, you know, Jen doesn't cosplay, but she comes to all the cons. She heavily involved as well, and we love it. I mean, I love having her there. I mean, for me, it means the world that my partner is there with me in my passion and the stuff I love to do. But what's your story? You guys,
but far enough removed that it's still fun for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, there's definitely pros before I get into the cons. Well, because we both know what we're doing, which makes it easier. And I can rely on Aaron to do things that I don't know how to do, and he can rely on me, and we can work together as a pretty good cohesive team. All these buzzwords.
Cohesion.
Interslice. But
Interslice.
it's something that we can do together as a couple, which is great that we have similar interests. But the problem with being a couple who does it is that we don't have authority over one another. So if he asks for my opinion on something or I ask his opinion, there's no one in charge who gets the last say. So it'd be like, well, I think we should do it this way, and I think we should do it this way, and then that could lead to a lot of fights. So we have a rule now where, like, if you want my opinion, ask for my opinion, and then if we're done, then we're done.
No.
Apparently, Jeff's like, I'm bowing out of this one.
Yeah. He's like, no,
I'm out. Jeff just dropped. No, I'm sure he'll be right back. Did you guys get competitive at all?
Yes.
With each other? Yeah.
Yeah, you do?
Well, we try not to compete directly with things anymore. When we first started dating years ago, and even when before we were dating, we were just friends, we were so competitive. Like, remember I told you before when I first met her, we played Smash Brothers. And in my family growing up I have 3 brothers, I have a bunch of cousins, we'd always play Smash Brothers. and I was usually the best out of all of them. And if any of my
that
brothers
laugh.
are listening to this,
That laugh.
and then Wendy's like, "You want to play Smash Brothers?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna destroy." She beat me hard, and it was a tough pill to swallow. And I was only like 17 at the time, right? You're young, you're dumb, you're cocky, you think you're the best, and she just beat me like I'd say 75% of the time. She just destroyed me in most games.
I have 2 older brothers, so
Yeah.
So you were the good one.
Well, she's the good one, but the problem is, she's very competitive, and she's one of the guys, right? Like most of her friends are guys, so she's always been one of the guys. So when she wins, she's like, "In your face!"
You have to be more aggressive with men. That's just how it
And then,
is.
and then when she loses, she's like, "Oh, you beat a girl! Congratulations!" And you're like, "What?" So
That's the old Wendy.
that's old Wendy. Yeah. So we don't
The
really
old
compete
Wendy.
on stuff. We also have another rule when we're doing cosplay. Like, I don't know if you've seen Wendy's Chansey build that she was working on last year, and my current build for Rust-Oleum. Since it's my build, I will have final say on most things.
Even if he's making mistakes, I have
Even
to
if I'm
just
making a
sit there
mistake,
and let it happen.
exactly. And for her stuff, I know something's gonna go wrong. Or I'll say, if you do this, it might not work. And she'll say, it's my build. Let me make my own mistakes. So she does. I will as well. I'm not saying she only makes mistakes. I make so many mistakes.
The hardest part is not to be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I at the same time, learning from. I mean, you really learn from your mistakes, right? Like if I tell you how to do it, sure you'll know how to do it. But if you make the mistake, now you'll understand why, right? And it is a good learning tool. But I do get it how sometimes you just want to be like, I've already told you. Like, why won't you freaking listen?
I think we both kind of know where our strengths lie too, so it makes it a bit easier. But yeah, it's hard
for
not to let your
sure.
ego get in the way.
And there's certain things that like I'll excel in, like she said, our strengths, and then she'll excel in, and you just got to learn to accept that. Like I told you before, I'm the type of guy where I would like to do things myself. If I don't know how to do something, I'll learn it. I'll build the tool to do it. I'll do that. But sometimes I just got to accept the fact that someone else can do it better, and it's just more efficient. So we do that. So like a lot of modeling stuff, if it's like something like organic or something that she can whip out in like a few hours, I'm not going to be stubborn and say, no, I'll do it. But it'll take me 2 days to do. Like I can still do it, but she'll do it faster and better and more efficiently. And there's certain
But
things that I have
sometimes there's a
strengths in.
satisfaction to doing it yourself, right? Like sometimes, I mean, I get that too. But respect the powers that be. But sometimes it is fun to do it yourself. We have been on for almost an hour now, and we do have a couple more questions, so maybe we can get to the next one. Well, by the way, folks, Jeff lost his internet. His internet connection went down. He's waiting for it to come back up. I don't know if he'll be back with us before we go offline, but we'll see if we can get him back on before we go. What's a dream project you'd like to take on? There's got to be that one like unicorn.
I have one. I have a couple. But I'll let Wendy go first.
All right, let me think for a minute. I know what you're going to say. So you say that guy. I think for a second.
Okay, so my absolute dream cosplay doesn't have to be sponsored. Doesn't have to do with anything. Just I want to build it over time. Is Amanda Schuin from The Fifth Element? You know the big gold guys.
Yeah.
Just kind of shuffle around, and he's like, time is not important, only life. And he sticks out his finger, and the key comes out the finger. I want to have a fully functional, basically set ready cosplay of that, and it'll be enclosed. So I'd have to do like I don't know if you've seen Adam Savage's his Totoro costume where he had like a camera. So, like get like a camera. He's
going FPV basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then have like little servos and stuff for like the finger and this and that, and lights, voice alter, everything. And then like Wendy could be like Lilu or something, or Lily can be Lilu, and we can have like like a Fifth Element group cosplay or something. I think that would be fun. I've always wanted to do that. It's for years. It's been on my list.
I mean, why is it on your list? Why
That's
has
one
it
of my
not been
favorite
done?
sci-fi movies.
But why has it not been done?
Oh, dude,
What's stopping
know
you? What's
time.
keeping you? It's always a question of time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's time. Like, I mean, like I said last year, I spent a lot of time on those trophies, and I was going to be done ahead of schedule. Then I broke my arm, and then before that, we had a baby, and now we're having another baby, and it's just time. I think back to when we didn't have all this stuff, and I'm like, what did I do with my time? What did I do with my time? Right? And I wish I had the time to do it, because
I'll tell you something. As you get older, it doesn't get any better. I mean, the older you get, the quicker that time flies by. So, yeah. I don't know if Jen, if we have any other questions.
Well, Wendy, what about Wendy's dream cosplay?
I'm
Oh
trying.
yes, we never got to that. That's right.
I have a problem with starting a cosplay because I'll like a few pieces of it
Mhm.
that are like really cool to make, and then I'll make them, and then the rest will just fall apart. So I'm trying to think of one. I just have a focus problem. What's from Marvel Ultimate Alliance with the huge horns? What's her
Which
name?
one?
The game we were playing.
Which one?
And I can't remember her name. But
you're talking about the woman from Thanos's Death Squad.
Yeah.
Proxima? The one, she's like really
Proxima
tall.
Midnight or something like that.
Yeah, I think
there's a
that's
version in her in Avengers Ultimate Alliance, and she's got this insane helmet that's huge. And I've always looked at that. I'm like, I want to do that one, but I have no time to do that one.
So you should see how many cosplays Wendy has started.
I have buckets of 3D prints that are just like I've modeled and I printed, but I just never finished them. I'm awful.
She played the new version of the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and she's like, I'm gonna make what's her name?
Oh, Jessie. I have like a half-made Jessie. Okay, I would love to finish Jessie. I have like all of the modeling done, and I have like half of the armor printed.
Nightfall from Final Space.
Yeah, helmet's done for Nightfall.
The Chansey armor. I have stuff too. I'm not going to dump on Wendy, but like I have stuff that I need to finish too. But
I'm thinking I might start pivoting to making just pieces, like really cool masks and helmets and stuff, because I don't know what it is. I just can't get through a whole cosplay anymore. I don't know. 2 babies is gonna make it hard.
Yeah.
When you start making stuff, it's kind of par for the course, where you start one thing and then you start another and then you start another and then you realize, oh shit, I got 10 projects in the go and I haven't finished one yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look back at the ones we have finished and I'm like, where did I get that time and that drive to finish this all the way through? Like, it's you have to like work when it hits. It just goes, like these guys, like.
Oh, that's still probably my favorite build.
We worked our asses off on these ones.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have that drive to finish one like this right now.
Yeah.
All of the fire has been added on in post, right?
Yeah, but they're at the candles.
I can shoot real cartoon fire out of my eyes. Yeah.
They were actually little tea light candles that had the remote. Yeah. It would have been cool to do with real candles one day.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it might be a little dangerous, but you know,
just for a photo shoot or something would be cool.
I mean, it's already pretty dope. Oh, this is amazing as well.
Oh yeah,
I love this one.
So the best thing about this one, like these 2 Diablo costumes, it actually took us almost a year to make them. Is I love Diablo 3. I played the original Diablo back in the 90s when it first came out. I played the crap out of the entire Diablo franchise. And I would play and play and play, and I'm like, Wendy, play with me. And she's like, yeah, I'll play a little bit, but she never really played. And then I showed her some of what I wanted to make, the Crusader, and she's like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, I want to find something to make too. So we started playing. So I made her play with me to earn the armor, because that was the loot reward for that season. So she had to earn the loot reward. So we actually got to play through the game together. Through Diablo 3, and then she earned it, and then we used screenshots from that to make these, which was pretty fun.
I have a feeling the next Diablo is going to have a ton of cool stuff. that we could pick up on.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah,
I found that early.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Those armors, what are they mostly? Are they mostly foam? I feel like it's
PLA.
foam.
It's all
PLA.
most of it's 3D printed.
Is it really?
Well, yours, the Crusader's like the chest, and he's got like this hip armor.
Yeah, can you pull it back up?
Yeah.
The Crusader. So the big flash pieces. So the helmets, the mask, the candles, the shoulder pauldrons, those candles, the head of the hammer, the elbows, the knee pads, the hips, all the skull stuff, all that's 3D printed and modeled. The chest piece, the bicep pieces, like the forearm pieces, those are foam.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things about that was to actually match the foam to the 3D print, because 3D prints are a lot more sharp and crisp. You get detail.
Yeah.
So I had to soften the edges a bit, and then for the foam work, both Wendy and I split the foam work on this. Actually, the neck piece is also foam. We had to make sure those were more sharp and crisp than we usually do, because we usually like to bevel the edges a bit. So we had to match it up so it didn't look like that's obviously foam and that's obviously
right.
PLA. That was half the fun too, right?
How are those shoulder pauldrons? Like, how are they? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. They look like they're floating in midair.
Okay,
well,
so
they float in the game, so.
Do they really? Okay.
In the game, they actually float. And having worked on a few Blizzard projects, Blizzard physics or game physics is not real world physics. There's actually fun to figure out how to do. I basically have a fiberglass harness that I made. I had a bust I made of myself, and I made a fiberglass front and back plate with like a metal lining. And then I have these metal shoulder pads underneath those shoulder pads, like directly on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And they're tied to the harness. And then I have these pieces of, I'd say about 3 or 4 4mm aluminum bars. And they're strapped to these, or bolted to these shoulder pads. And then they go up and they go around the inside, and they kind of hug the inside of the print. And on the inside of the print, I modeled in these slots to glue in like 16 bolts. And then so it's bolted onto these.
Wow, that's quite the rig.
Bounces quite a bit when you walk to it.
Yeah, when I walk,
does.
kind of go like this. But I did extensive testing on it to make sure they could bounce and handle it and everything. I actually 3D printed the aluminum brackets. I actually printed it, and then I got the aluminum to match it and make sure it's the exact angle and the exact curve to match that, and as like a template, and did it that way. But it was fun to figure out, because I tried it different ways before and it did not work out. So I came to that conclusion, I guess.
I will say, like, a rule of thumb for like these big builds that we do is usually like anything on the arms is 3D printed, the legs is 3D printed, shoulders and the helmet is almost always 3D printed, and then all the body stuff will be foam.
Like torso.
Because it's so hard to move. So, and it's always clanking and hitting and like rubbing against each other. So that's kind of how we keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you guys have access to being able to 3D scan yourselves?
We do.
When you're modeling things like that, you're modeling them to your bodies?
We had a friend who scanned our heads for us, and then we measured our bodies, and we modeled a rough approximation. Rip that helmet.
Yeah, we lost
That's
that
the helmet that got stolen at Fan Expo.
Oh, is it really?
Dude, it's such a
That's
nice
on the
helmet.
list of cosplays that I was just, after it was gone, I was so discouraged. I'm like, I don't want to work on this
It
anymore.
was so much work.
So Wendy actually modeled that wolf head. So we got a bunch of different concepts thrown together, and then she came up with the final concept and modeled that. And then I went in and prepped it for printing and added little things like the head gem and the jaw pieces and stuff like that. And
But even this one, we printed it a little big, even though we have our head scans. Because like you have your hair, and then you kind of model things really close to your head, which is always a mistake. So we always make it a little bigger, and that's too big, or then like it's too small. So we usually get it right, but this guy was actually printed maybe 10% too big.
Yeah, so I already scaled him down and I'm ready to print him smaller, but I just don't have the drive anymore. Maybe when the new show comes out, because the new show is coming out supposedly later this year. I don't know, for Netflix, the live action.
I just start selling the model and then
Yeah,
someone else can print it.
yeah,
Do you guys do any of that, selling some of the models that you guys make?
we've done a few.
I've had this idea forever just to get all of our models and put them on our website or do like a Patreon, and each month you get a model or something, and it's just never happened. I would love to do that because we have built up a pretty big library of models,
Yeah, you should. You totally should.
and they're all 100% ready to print. So
yeah, no, that's amazing.
like occasionally someone will ask us. We had a couple people ask us about that wolf helmet, and we'll be like, sure, like throw us some cash and we'll set you the model, but it's not actually on the website.
See, and this is a perfect example is when you're modeling these things, you're modeling them to be wearable, right? So you've engineered all the attachment points, the way you build it, you know, the way it gets put together. It's not just, oh, model me this and you get a model, but it's not meant to be printed or cut or whatever. You engineer it so that it's
specifically
printable, but specifically to be wearable, right? So that's
that's one of the biggest things we have to try and take into account too, is not just to be wearable, but being able to disassemble and travel with. Because we've learned, I'm sure every cosplayer has learned, you know, if you have like a big piece or something really cool, stuffing that obscurely shaped piece into your car or whatever to go to a con, or heaven forbid you have to fly with it, you know, it's such a hassle. So we'll figure out ways to break it down and how we can disassemble it and pack it safely. And so it's not just the engineering of how to print it, but it's also convenience as well, and not just printing a solid object and figuring out how it works and how it packs up.
Just want to reply to Stephen Jones. He's absolutely right. He's saying that too small is a big problem, but too big can be fixed with padding, and it can. But then you have this bobblehead.
Yeah,
and
I
your
have
head
that
looks
problem right
enormous.
now. Yeah, I just printed a new Revit helmet, and it's ginormous, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I got to reprint
bothers
this.
me. Like,
so even if it's a little big, you can kind of fake it by making everything else a little big to compensate, so it's not disproportionately too big. So you don't end up looking like Darth Helmet in Spaceballs. But it works.
But too small is never gonna work.
Yeah. Well, actually, my current helmet, the purple Spooky Boy helmet. Oh man, I just have a big head, but I printed it and it fit perfectly in 3D. It fits on my head, but I never took into consideration the opening it curves like this. I couldn't get my head through it.
Oh yeah.
So it would fit on my head
if I assembled it.
If I assembled it on my head, but then it's not coming off. It could fit on Wendy's head. It could fit on our daughter's head.
Fit on the dog's head. Yeah, that's the one thing you got to take into account when modeling helmets is that, it fits on your head, but taking it on and off, your head's not going to fit through the opening you modeled.
Yeah. So you got to take that into account. So I had to reprint it like 10% or 7% bigger.
But I used that one I was making the wig for that cosplay, and I used it as a base. That's similar. You can kind of see it.
Yes, you can kind of see the wig.
There it is. Right here. There.
Right there. Awesome.
She's working on the wig back there.
Hey guys, we've been on for quite a while now. We're gonna have to go offline, but where can people find you? Like, first of all, do you take any commission work, or?
So we used to. We generally don't take commission work. We found, because specifically people want commissions from us for our 3D modeling and printing, or just the modeling. And 3D modeling is expensive. Like, I mean, we worked and still working in that industry, and it's very expensive. If it's something that we really like and it's something that we could possibly sell multiple of to help cut that cost, then we might do it. But if it's something very niche, we'll be like, sorry, otherwise you're gonna have to pay a lot of money for this. Or if it's like a sponsored commission for like a game or a company, then yeah, sure, we'll do that. So sponsor us.
But like individual commissions
Yeah,
for
for individuals, we
cosplayers
generally
don't really do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, you can find us primarily on Instagram. That is our main socials. I mean, we have a Twitter, but we don't really use it that much. We have a TikTok, but we're kind of against TikTok now. Like, I don't know. I'm not into TikTok. We're not into it. I guess it's a young person's thing.
We're 35.
Nothing against it. Nothing against it. I'm not judging people who are on TikTok. That's good for you, but for us, it's just
Basically,
not our jam.
anything married makers will pop up.
Yeah.
There you go. Just search for Married Makers
Married
online.
Makers.
Everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We're all over
All
the
the
place.
socials, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is our primary socials. Like our stories, our updates,
Mhm.
everything's done on Instagram, and then shared through Facebook through that.
Are you guys going to be at Comic-Con at all? Or not Comic-Con, sorry, Fan Expo?
Yes, we have the hotel booked. I have the tickets, but there may be talks of us doing something with our sponsor or possibly Fan Expo. I can't go into detail, but we may be doing something with them. If not, I have been cooking on an idea that I actually haven't shared with Wendy yet, that I want to do for Fan Expo possibly that we might do, but we're gonna try to make it. Yeah.
Yes,
So you're
absolutely.
potentially going to have a booth, is what you're saying.
I would hope.
I
I
don't know.
don't
We're
know.
not sure yet.
We're still working it. We're also gonna have a 3-month-old baby, so trying to figure out how we're gonna go.
Yeah.
I would love to go this year, so we're gonna work something out.
Bring the
Yeah.
baby.
Oh my god!
First experience.
Oh man!
I'm excited to bring our toddler. She's obsessed with like Studio Ghibli, so I want to do like a Totoro thing with her or something like that. That would be really cool. I would love to bring her in cosplay.
You should. You totally should.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they start them young; they'll love it forever.
Think
Hey
so.
guys, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Jeff, it doesn't look like Jeff is. I mean, I still can't see him back on the stream, so unfortunately, I don't think his internet's come back. But guys, I really appreciate you being on. We have to get together sometime.
Yeah.
I know you guys are in Barrie. You're about an hour and a half away or so, but we have to get together.
Yeah, but you're in Whitby, right?
I am Curtis.
Oh, Curtis. Okay, yeah, that's
So-
not far. I have family in
No.
Apex, so
Well,
go to
you
visit
were
them
saying
all
that
the
one time. So
Yeah.
so we got to get together. We're looking at potentially putting together a little event in the area here. So maybe we'll talk about that,
okay.
see if we can do something, and we'll go from there. Any final words, guys? Anything else you want to pitch? Final thoughts?
Motivational words of wisdom.
Motivational words? Yeah.
Just if you want to get into modeling or printing, just do it. Just start. Gotta start
That's the
somewhere.
hardest thing.
Tutorials everywhere.
Analysis
Printers are-
paralysis.
Printers are cheap.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. People sometimes they find it intimidating. They overanalyze. They try to study too much. They try to say, well, how will I do this? How will I do that? Analysis paralysis. You just got to do it. Like I told you before with those trophies, I'm like, I'm just gonna make a trophy, and then I'm gonna throw myself in there. You just got to do it. And if you fail, then that's fine. That means you learn, because you can't learn without failure, right? Oh, that was pretty wise, right?
And when you succeed, it's very worthwhile.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Very cosplay community. That's right.
yeah, very.
Words of wisdom coming from Aaron tonight.
Yeah.
So
I think that is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I want to quickly pop into Snowhawk cosplay.
Yes.
In Barrie cosplay community. I think I was in a bidding war with you on that auction site, a local auction site for a 3D printer.
Oh, that's very likely it was
yeah.
him. Yes.
Yeah, because his handle, because it's like
Well-
this guy outbid you, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And it said Snowhawk. I'm like, "Wait a second, I know that."
Yeah,
mine is
that's
M
Ed.
Maker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so we had a bidding war. I don't remember who won. I don't know.
We won.
See, more words of wisdom. Steve Jones, there is no failure, just something learned. There you
That's
go.
right.
There you go.
Sounds like it's
That's
right out of Yoda's mouth.
And if you guys have any 3D printing questions, anyone out there has 3D printing questions or modeling questions, feel free to reach out. You know, we've Not Possible, or Becca out there, she reached out to us a while back, and now she's printing awesome stuff. I'm not saying it's because of us, but we're happy to help.
Because we helped her.
It's not because of us. It's just she had some questions. We help her out. You know, we're
I
happy.
can
to help.
attest. I ask Aaron stuff all the time. He's always helping him out. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for sending me that instruction manual. All of the parts are listed. All of the machine screws are there. So I have them all in my shopping cart now. I don't know if I'm going to go pick them up or if I'm going to order them online, but you the man, because this thing's been in pieces for months and I need to rebuild it. So I really appreciate it.
It's funny because I saw that and I was like, oh, I have that one. But I just never assembled it. It's not even assembled yet, that printer.
Like I told you, if you ever decide you want to get rid of it,
we'll see. My dad has
saying.
to. I'm trying to get my
Just
dad
saying.
into 3D printing, so
that's a good plan too. Hey guys, I think that's going to be it for this week. Again, Jeff isn't here, but Jeff, I hope you have a good night. I know the old man has to get up early in the morning. In the meantime, guys, make sure you stay geeky. We'll see you next week.
bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss an episode.